He's our hockey analyst from Nesson and, of course, WEEI. Our buddy Andrew Razor Raycroft with Gresh and Jones. Razor Fourier flew away to go to Colorado for a graduation. How about that?
That's wonderful. Bob Beers did the same graduation, actually. He was out there as well. So it's a very great time for everyone to be graduating.
So they were both at this same weird Thursday graduation?
There was no, I don't know if they're at the same school, but Beersy was out in Colorado for the Thursday night graduation. It probably was.
Oh my God!
Right?
Wow. How did we not put this together? The Colorado connection.
Huh.
There we go. We're doing it on the last day of them actually being out there. But so there you go.
They were drinking together.
Time for all of them. For sure.
Yeah, they tried to make that ceremony electric. And it's if Jones, if you can't tell, Razor taught me the word electric to be used in many different ways.
Okay.
You know, like when you think of a player who would go out on the town, it gets electric type deal. Yeah.
He's a beaut. It's electric. Yeah.
He's a beaut. It's electric. Exactly.
Okay.
No slide in there. So Razor, how electric will the first period be given the physicality at the end of game 2? What is your expectation?
There won't be any carryover from the actual third period physicality. The fight, of course, of Pasta and Tkachuk. I don't expect any carryover of that. I expect a lot of physicality because that's how teams have to win this time of year, and certainly Game 3 is a big one. And Bruins are going to want to get the crowd into it and play physical, but I don't foresee anything that happened in Game 2 carrying over. That's one of those ones where it's 5-1 and you take your licks and you try and set the scene for the rest of the series, but can't allow it to carry over, to be honest.
So I'm conflicted on Pastrnak electing to take the fight with Tkachuk. Like, part of me wants to give him credit for stepping up and doing it. The other part of me wants to say, well, that was foolish. Like, why'd you go out there and fight him? Where do you come down on that one? Is that inspiring, to use Montgomery's word, or do you kind of look at it and go, what are you doing there, Pasta?
No, it's fantastic. We want our best players to care. We want our best players to compete. We want our best players.
What if he broke his nose or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, if he'd still be playing today if he broke his nose or he broke a tooth, or and I mean, the ifs don't really work, because if you were worried about that in playoff time in the moment, then you're probably not a great leader or not a star player either. That's again, I think, when we use that what if, or you don't want a guy to break your nose, we're talking about the NBA playoffs, right? Like the guys who sit out games for sore hamstrings in the NBA playoffs. Like it's a different thing, and hockey's different. And
so how come Pasta doesn't fight all the time then?
Well, because he doesn't. That's the point. In the regular season, we're talking about a regular season. He's not a fighter. Like, he scores goals for a living. He scores 50 goals every year, and he's one of the few in the entire planet that can do that. So there's no reason for him to be fighting in the regular season. He scores goals, but in the playoffs, in a 6-1 loss in the home ice, that the team has been criticized for backing down from physicality and being pushed around. It's comical to me that there's some kind of a criticism for him actually fighting when he does push back from that same physicality that people have criticized the Bruins for taking. So no, it was fantastic to see, and there was a lot of people throughout hockey very impressed with David's compete.
So Razor, help me understand. You have the one scrum, then Marshy does his thing. And then Pasta, I think, felt like he needed to do that with Tkachuk. Can you explain to me the why? Because the first one I understood, Marshy and crew, I get. The Pasta one, I wonder why he felt like he needed to go that far, considering a whole bunch of players had just gotten thrown out. Help me understand that hockey mindset.
Well, again, I think the way he put it after the game was perfect. The quote was perfect, that, he's not afraid of Matthew Tkachuk. He can take a punch, and he would do that for his teammates. So I think just, again, stepping up, showing up in life is pretty important. There might not be enough of it anymore in our society, but the reality is, standing up for yourself and doing the right thing for a group of people that you really appreciate is never going to be unnoticed in hockey, especially.
What's wrong with McAvoy?
I mean, he's at times offensively with the puck bobbled it at times. I think he's played a lot of hockey here the last week and a half, and when the same kind of criticisms with the best players turning pucks over at certain times, when you're on the ice half of the game, you're going to make some mistakes. So he's got to be better for this group to continue all the way through. That's what the best players need to do, and I think he will continue to do that. He was awesome in Game 7. He was awesome in Game 1. So, it's up to him to hopefully get a few more pucks on net, handle that puck a little bit more in the offensive zone, and keep using his physicality.
Razor, does just being at home help someone like McAvoy, or does Monty have to think about adjusting ice time or pairings with him to get him going?
No, I don't think so. I think you just keep playing. Again, you just as a guy who plays 30 minutes a night or 25 minutes, you just keep playing. You keep working on your game, working different circumstances. I don't think. Certainly at home, it's going to look differently. When the Bruins have advantages, they're going to take advantage of those and be able to put the guys that they want on the ice and not kind of chasing the lineup as you do on the road. So it will look differently, but I think in Charlie's case, it's just a matter of going and playing.
Why, and I know Montgomery was kind of joking about this yesterday, I think it was, on the day between games. Last I saw, maybe the numbers are different. The Bruins have been whistled for 5 too many men on the ice penalties. The rest of the NHL, at least as of the other night, was at 4 in totality in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Why has that been an issue for the Bruins?
Well, somewhere along the line, the players are jumping too early or jumping too late or not, getting the proper assign. I know Montgomery's taking. That's what coaches do on too many men. Like they take the brunt or the fault, I guess. But in the NHL, guys are they're at just as much fault. Players are at just as much fault. So the other night there was 3D on the ice. Someone jumped when they weren't supposed to jump, or someone didn't come to the bench and only came halfway, and another guy jumps on. There's lots of different scenarios. Whatever it is, it can't happen anymore. They've been able to dodge the bullet and not get scored or not have any of these cost them the game directly, but they're really flirting with the karma of the world by continually getting these too many men on the ice.
So I get that as a one-off, right? Like, you jumped. I get that as a one-off. When it happens 5 times in the postseason, don't you have to look at the coach and go, it keeps happening, your message isn't landing, something's fundamentally off there?
No, it's the opposite. If it was once, it would be the coach not communicating properly or giving the wrong one. If it's this many times, it's on the players at some point where, guys are jumping early or not, doing what they're supposed to do. Listen, they've been changing on the fly since they were 10 years old. When there's too many men or not. And again, it's not the coach is taking the fault of it, but the reality is each one of these scenarios, I bet the players not taking the right assignment.
Razor, how much of that from the problematic standpoint of getting on and off the ice and all that could be because there is some tinkering that Monty does during the game? Does that have a factor in this in terms of what appears to be a lack of communication somehow?
No, I don't think so. And again, they've taken like a few of these too many men on the ice, but it's not really like
5.
a narrative in this. 5 of them. It's not a narrative. Like it really isn't a narrative from my point of view. Anyways, they can't do it anymore. But it hasn't, like I said, cost them a game, cost them a series. It hasn't cost them anything. They've killed all 5 of those penalties off. So it's not a narrative for me. They just can't allow it to happen anymore.
What's not a narrative for me is going to Ullmark in Game 3 or at any point. Do you think we're going to see him here for the rest of this series, potentially as soon as tonight?
I won't see him tonight. No, it'll be Swayman tonight.
Do you think there is a chance Ullmark ends up playing in this series? Like, is tonight a little bit of a decider, maybe in terms of which way they can go on that if, God forbid, the Bruins do put up a stinker this evening?
I don't know. I've been doing the what if for a long time and been saying that you're probably going to see one guy, and that's how it's been so far. So I don't know. If they lose 2-1, Swayman's going to play Game 4. Is that if they win? How about if they win 3-1? We're going to see Swayman in Game 4.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I think there is. I think that's a pretty safe assumption. What else does Monty do tonight to tweak the group, if anything, in your opinion? Or is there something you would like to see a tweak made heading into tonight?
Well, I think, what's the health of Andrew Peeke and what's the health of Dan Heinen?
Is Peeke playing tonight?
I don't know.
I know they're saying that that if Peeke can go, how massive is that for the Bruins?
Well, yeah, it's important. He was great the first couple of games against Toronto. He's been a great addition by Don Sweeney at the deadline, getting him for nothing and having him on contract for another couple of years. A great job by the organization. And, you'd like to see him back in the lineup. He brings some size. He brings some strength. He did a great job against Florida in the regular season. So, again, if he's healthy and ready to go, then that'll be a great addition on the back end. And same with Heinen, who's been fantastic all season. You get him back in the forward group, healthy and ready to roll, then those are the two players to get back in the lineup.
How are you feeling about tonight?
I feel good about tonight. I think they played a great game in Game 1. I think you knew we were going to get a pushback from Florida, and that's a tough game after the day off, after the Game 7 being on the road. I think they take the energy from the Garden tonight and get a win.
How much golf did you get in down in Florida? We were joking about that last time. Did you find a course?
No, I didn't. We went to the beach. Instead. Had to do a little work. Just didn't line up where I could get to the golf course at 10 a.m. and get home at 10 at night.
Oh, you couldn't squeeze in golf and the beach.
No. Here's what it is.
That's too bad.
Man, hold on now, Razor. We've known you enough. Is that really code for no one came through to host me at their club while I was in Florida?
No, I didn't. Luckily enough, I didn't have that issue, and I actually felt bad after there was some legwork done to get me someone. But I had to, like I said, I had to go talk to the guys for like half an hour on the day off, and it was right in the middle of the day. So it just kind of, I'm all about work. I'm grinding away here. I'm all.
Oh yeah.
All you guys
Sounds that way.
It's all about work. I'm all business. I've got lots of time for golf after the Stanley Cup parade.
Well, hell, start working it now. Bethpage Black, come on. You're going to be going to New York at some point, at least we think.
Right.
You got to, it's maybe getting a half a step ahead. I'm sure Mike Francesa will host you somewhere down there in New York if it's Bruins-Rangers, Razor. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate you. We'll catch you next week or sooner than later. Thanks.
All right, love it. Have a good weekend.
There we go. There goes Andrew Razor Raycroft.